Hello friends, I am Gerald Anthony, Assistant Professor, St. Xavier's College, Palayam. So today we are going to see the basic concepts of electrochemistry. So as you know, whenever you are connecting two cells, there will be a flow of electricity. So the electricity, when there is a flow of electricity, it will be usually accompanied by liberation of oxygen gas or liberation of hydrogen gas in any electrode or deposition of metals in any electrode. So when the flow of electron was first discovered, they came to know that the magnetic effect of the flow of electron is directly opposite to the direction of flow of the current. So only usually they will be calling it as positive current. So since current is carried through metals by means of electrons only, it means that flow of electron is opposite to the direction to that of conventional current flow. Okay, so current is carried by metals by means of electrons. So what happens whenever the electron flow is taking place to the directly opposite position, the conventional current flow will be. So what do you mean by EMF? So EMF may be a driving force or a pressure which makes the flow of electric current from one electrode to another electrode, or from one metal rod to another metal rod or metal sheet. Okay, for example, if you are taking a copper and zinc, okay, so now two electrodes are there, you are dipping it in electrolytic solution. So now what happens, the flow of current from the copper to zinc take place, and at the same time flow of electrons from zinc to copper take place. The driving force which is required for the flow of current is known as EMF or electromotive force. And so when you are having two different types of electrodes, when there is a flow of electrons will be taking this, automatically it will create a potential difference between the two electrodes or two cells. So with the total algebraic sum of all the potential difference is also known as total EMF. And the property of whenever the electric flow is hindered, then the electricity flow is hindered, there is a possibility for the hindrance of electricity flow, that is known as resistance. So in a wire, whenever the electricity is flowing, there will be some amount of resistance will be there which will resist the free flow of electricity. Then it is then the some amount of electricity will be dissipated as a heat. Okay, so whenever the length of the wire is very long, the resistance on the in the wire will be also very long. According to Ohm's law, current is directly proportional to EMF, okay, and it is inversely proportional to resistance. So the current strength, whenever the EMF is very high, current flow or current strength will be also very high. Whenever the resistance is very high, the current flow or current strength will be very low. So from the above equation, when you are cross multiplying the I with R, so what happens, it will the above equation will be converted into E is equal to I into R. From the above equation you can come to a conclusion that EMF is the product of current and resistance. So classification of conductors, so all the matters appears to conduct electricity but to a different extent. Okay, so for example, the silver is one of the best conductor, and paraffin wax is one of the poorest conductor. So in this way they classify it into conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So again there are three main categories for good conductors: gaseous, metallic and electrolytic conductors. So gases will be conduct electricity with influence of high potentials or if exposed to certain radiation, otherwise they cannot conduct electricity effectively. And metallic conductors and electrolytic conductors. So here you should note a point that metallic conductors, here the electron will be flowing and it will conduct current. Here in electrolytic conductors, ions will be moving and it will be conducting currents. In metallic conductors, there will be no movement of ion or atomic nuclei. The ion or atomic nuclei will be remaining as such in the lattice, metal lattice. But here in electrolytic conductor, there will be the flow of ions or the flow of electrolytes will be there, which leads to the conduction of electricity or conduct or it will be acting as conductors. So here the electrolytic conductors can be classified into two main types. One is pure form. Okay, so in the pure state or pure form, it will be available as a salt or hydrates or halides of silver, barium, lead or any other metal, and alpha form of silver sulfate can be also considered as a pure form of electrolytic conductors. So water, alcohol, pure acid and similar liquids are very poor conductors. Even though they are very pure conductors, sorry, very poor conductors, they are the pure form of electrolytic conductors. And the second type is the conductor which is mainly concerned for electrochemistry. Here this salt or acids or bases dissolved in water or any other solvents, their conducting property will be depends on different features or different chemical and physical natures. So the conducting systems with somewhat unusual type are lithium carbide, alkaline earth nitride dissolved in any corresponding hydrate solvents, or organic acids and nitro compounds dissolved in liquid ammonia and hydrogen. These are all considered as a mixed conductors or electrolytic conductors which are with one or more substances. They are highly concerned for the electrochemistry. The phenomena and mechanism of electrolytes. So you know the metals in sheet form or rod form is known as electrode. The electrode one at from which the positive currents enters. Okay, when the positive current enter into a particular electrode, it is known as anode, and when the positive current leaves one electrode, then it is known as cathode. The passage of current through. So whenever you are carrying out the current, when you are carrying out the electrolysis process in a metal salt solutions like zinc, iron, nickel, cadmium, lead, copper, silver and mercury, here the electrode potential value will be positive. So here what happens, whenever you are using such type of electrolytic solutions, the metals from these electrolytic solutions will get deposited on a cathode. At the same time, when you are using very base metals like alkali and alkaline earth metals, here when you are using this type of metals as electrolytic solutions, or when you are using these metal salts as electrolytic solutions, now what happens, if you are using when you are using this type of alkali and alkaline earth metal solutions, what happens, hydrogen gas will be set free. Okay, here what happens, the hydrogen gas will be get set free. For example, if you are using lithium sodium or potassium, this way alkaline earth beryllium. So when you are using such type of metals, base metals as salt solutions, now what happens, hydrogen gas, because definitely you will be having water in that electrolytic solution, so the hydrogen gas will be set free. So if you are using the anode which is attackable, okay, when the anode is easily attackable, just what happens, when the flow of current is taking place, the metals will be the metal which is present in the anode will be get oxidized, and it will be converted into ion form and get deposited into the solution. This leads to the decrease in the amount of the decrease in the weight of that particular anode after completing the electrolysis process. So whenever you are using the anode as an inert metal like platinum, what happens, this platinum will generally set free, an element will be generally set free at this platinum electrode, because it is inactive, it will not react. For example, if you are using the solutions of nitrates, sulfates, phosphates, etc., oxygen gas will be liberated. When you are using the any metal solutions of nitrate, sulfate, phosphate in the electrolytic solution, as an electrolytic solution, what happens, oxygen gas get liberated, whereas when you are using halide solutions other than fluorides, free halogen is produced at this platinum anode. So now what happens, the so you have so far seen so many different types of decompositions of electrolytic solutions by electric current with liberation of gases, hydrogen or oxygen gases or any other metals get liberated or deposited on the cathode or anode. Then this is known as electrolysis. Grothus conduction is this was proposed by Grothus in year 8800. So he suggested that the electrolytic solutions, when it is dissolved in the water, it will be having both positive and negative end. That is, it will be having positive ions and negative ions. It get ionized, and it will be appearing like a ion pairs. So here you can see in this Grothus conduction mechanism, here in the first step, so in whenever we are applying a potential, before applying the potential, the ions will be oriented in a random manner. Okay, so now here you are having two electrodes dipped into that particular electrolytic solution. Now you are applying a potential or EMF. Now what happens, the positive side of the ion will be moving towards the electrode, orienting towards the negative electrode, and negative side of the electrolytic solution ion will be, electrolytic ion will be moving towards the positive side. So now what happens, slowly the ion which is the electrolytic ion pair which is more nearer to that electrode will be moving closer to that electrolyte. So to that electrode, you can see it through the process in the Roman letter 2. You just go through in a horizontal way. Okay, Roman letter 2 you can see. So the positive ion is slowly absorbed by the negative electrode, and here in the right hand side you can see the negative ion will be slowly absorbed by the positive electrode. It is mentioned as step 2. Now the residual part which were then imagined to exchange partners with the adjacent molecule. Now what happens, the residual ion, after being absorbed in the left hand side in the step 2, you can see once the positive ion is absorbed, now the negative ion will be remaining as such without any pair. In same way, in the step 2 in the right hand side, you can see the negative ion is absorbed, now the positive ion will be remaining as such without any pair. Now what happens, this negative ion will be slowly moving towards the positive ion present in the nearby neighboring ion pair, and it will absorb it, and both will form a new ion pair. You can see in the step 3 in the left hand side. In same way, the positive ion which is remaining without any pair will be moving towards the neighboring ion pair, and it will absorb the negative ion, and it will be appearing as such. You can see in the step 3 in right hand side. You should view it in the horizontal way. Okay, now what happens, but the electrode this new orientation will be lead to the formation of a different type of an ion. In this ion, now there is a negative electrode. In this ion pair, the negative ion is also nearby. Okay, you can see in the step 3. So now what happens, it cannot this electrode cannot absorb this ion pair. In same way, the positive ion cannot also attract this newly formed ion pair, because both are having same charge. Okay, so since you are having a negative ion and here you are having a negative electrode, in same way here also a positive ion and a positive electrode. Now what happens, flipping will be takes place. Slowly it get flipped, and this positive ion will be moving to this side and the negative ion will be moving to this side. In same way, in the second pair also the positive ion will be flipping and the negative ion will be flipping. All the ions will get flipped accordingly to make that the flipping is neutralized. Okay, so now what happens, this flipping taking place, and again the conduction will be taking place, and what happens again, this in the fourth step, the positive ion will be moving towards the negative ion, and here the negative ion in the right hand side will be moving towards the positive electrode. So here what happens, this type of orientation, this flipping will be taking place, which is mentioned by the Grothus. But there is a chief objection, there is an objection for this Grothus theory, because it requires relatively high EMF. Okay, so to sufficiently break the molecule, so in the residual ion which present in the step 2, you can see, okay, it needs high EMF to break the ion pairs. here also this residual ion should break the ion pair, but in actual sense there is no such type of high EMF is needed for the conduction in electrolytic solution, so it leads to some objections. Thank you.